Welcome to One-on-One Tech Talks, the podcast where we dive deep into the heart of technology through the eyes of those who shape it. I am your host, Luis Serrano, and today marks our 8th episode in this journey of discovery and inspiration. If you're a regular listener, you might have noticed that the audio experience of my podcast sounds quite different. Well, I am afraid the rest of the episode will sound almost as the previous ones, but I will explain why I sound like this right now towards the end of the episode. For now, let's turn our attention to today's guest. Today, I'm here with Rocío Ramírez. She's an expert in law, currently working in digitalization at Wolters Kluwer. Did I say it right?
Wolters Kluwer. Yeah.
Hi, Rocío.
Hi, Luis. Thank you for having me.
No, thank you for being here.
Yeah.
So, I invited you to the podcast because I saw a post that you put on LinkedIn about digitalization in the law, and more or less how it's been so far for you. So, but first of all, I wanted to talk about your career. So, I guess the basic question is, what inspired you to pursue a career in law, and how did you initially envision your path within this field?
Well, it's a real deep question. The point is that I studied law because I didn't have clearly what to do, because I think that when we have to decide which is going to be our profession, we are so young, and it's quite hard to have clear which is your vision about your older future.
Yeah.
So as I didn't have it clear, I thought that studying got a degree in law, it was going to be a good way to have an open options to many, for example, to work on town halls as a lawyer, as a solicitor, as a police. Many options. It was open about to getting the degree, so I decided to go ahead. And then I started to work mainly with litigation cases. And it was my way. I really like to go to court, to attend the hearings, and then to defend the customers and the clients' interest on behalf of the judge and the court. And it was a real interesting experience, but I could feel that I could give something different, but I was feeling that, but I didn't understand quite well why or what or whatever. The point is that the life is bringing you to paths and roads that you never think that you are going to get. And after many years working with massive litigation cases for banks, and also for real estate companies with all the problem of the crisis of 2007 with on the big crisis that we have with all the construction, all the buildings and everything. It's just that I saw that I was spending my time all the time attending the same task, and to get efficiencies, as I was managing always nearly the same cases, I was copying, pasting, preparing templates, and at the end I was having my several different documents and templates to put all the information what was required depending of the case. So finally my day, it was the same and the same and the same, but it was something that I didn't thought that could be reinvented, because it was the traditional way of working for the main of the lawyers. But suddenly I started to work with a British company. They were starting a project here in Spain for massive claiming project, and they were defining all the workflows and all the processes with the technology as a main tool. Okay. It was new for me. It was like, what? Technology for lawyers? Well, obviously we all work with computers, of course, with mailing, but imagine that, for example, 10 years ago, the better way to get efficiencies, it was to get a template, different templates for the different cases, and just to complete with the details. So it was then when I started to think that there was different ways to approach to the legal management. Okay, we were having an IT department focused on automating our main repetitive task. And it was like, to automate, but it's impossible. I mean, the lawyers, we are still bespoke, so we are managing the cases. Every case is different, so under that conception, it's quite difficult to think that something is possible to automate. But at the end of the day, you are managing many processes that are the same for all the cases, like to attend the email, to complete a template, to save the documents. So then you realize, after managing I have been doing before, after managing the same cases all the same times, I have the clear vision, and I could feel that many of the tasks were always the same. So I started to understand that for many tasks of lawyers, it wasn't something crazy to think about to automate. Okay. It was my beginning.
Yeah, actually, that was the next question. At one point, did you think, or did you feel that there was a need for this? But you just told me you started working for this company, and then they brought automation, and that opened your eyes somehow. That's very interesting. So it was like kind of a catalyst for you.
Yeah, exactly. The point is that finally the project couldn't go ahead because there was the vision or the mission that they defined for the project didn't contemplate to go to hearings, to go to court. They thought that they could manage all the massive claiming cases in a pre-court status. And what was their surprise when I started to walk to them that I said, no, the definition of the project has not been correct. These cases mostly have to go to court, so you have to estimate about 2 or 3 years to be solved the case, which is the current timings for any court case. And just in case that if you have to appeal, you can go up to 5-6 years easily. So that was like obviously the pipeline of the project where I mean it didn't work. I mean the numbers, the figures, everything was built over some provisions that wasn't contemplated at that point. So
is it because they were thinking in terms of their own legal framework in their country and they didn't know how it worked in Spain?
Yes, for sure. Yeah, that's it. I mean, they were having these similar cases in United Kingdom. Actually, it was the PPI cases, which is similar to the cláusulas gastos, cláusulas suelo, all the main actions against ban here in Spain for abusive clauses. And in United Kingdom, it was not very common to go to court. Usually they could manage everything in a previous statement, but not here in Spain. So, but that was the point that I started to realize that maybe there was a different way to do our work, but not, I mean, the most of the lawyers doesn't have that vision or do not have that vision because they do not work with technology. And even more 5 or 6 years ago, technology, it was something that it was only useful in other sectors or industries, not for the legal sector. So I realized that maybe I could bring some value because I could understand at least which is the necessities of the legal sector, which is the necessities and the pain points of the lawyers. So I could help the IT professionals, the technologists, to understand how to develop tools that could solve the problems of the legal sector, because you have all the power of the technology on your hands, but you do not have the understanding about all the requirements or the specific requirements that are needed to completely solve the pain point. So I started to work on helping other lawyers and law firms and solicitor firms to automate as a freelance and a consultancy, in a consultancy way, all the processes and workflow. And it was like this that I started to know even more technologies and how APA or just a format like OCR for a document with a very strong searching tool could help to get structured data to be automated and imported on your database. Something so simple that for a person that has been working for years in technology for the legal sector, it was like discovering.
Yes. Can you tell me a specific example of speaking of digital transformation, a specific instance that you remember where the efficiency was significantly improved by automation or digitalization?
I mean, the point is that as been working with massive litigation on a manually way for years, I have a clear vision about how much time do you need to, for example, process a court notification. I mean, to save it on its folder, to include on the agenda the deadline if you have to attend any requirement, to send the document to another colleague that is working with you. I mean, I was having the clear vision about the timings and all the steps that you have and actions that you have to complete. So when I started to realize that just clicking on the keyboard and you could activate the whole process, it was like, oh my God. And I'm thinking about, for example, the possibility of automating the court notifications that we are usually receiving, and maybe you need, for example, 2-3 person in a law firm to manage 200 or 300 court notifications, and with an API you can manage in minutes, or just to the bulk actions, for example. Also, there are cases that you have to generate the invoice, to generate the I don't know how to say in English, sorry, the ship order, when you are starting to manage a case for a client. You need to sign a document where you have to rule which is the case, the typology of the case that you are going to manage, in which sense you are going to advise the clients, which are going to be the fees. I mean, there is a document, a sheet order. So imagine that in 1 week you have got 3-4 new cases, and you have to generate the same document for different customers, that you have to take the template, to put the information, to print, to sign, to send it to send it by email to the customer. So doing that with an APA technology, because it's always the same actions, and also to do it in a bulk action is like the difference is amazing.
Okay, but we're talking here about automating paperwork and some tasks, but are you also going deeper? Like, for example, in the field of the law, there's a huge amount of documentation, laws, changing regulations. You need to have precedents in hand for some cases. when we talk about automation, is it only filling templates and mixing documents, or is it also fetching this documentation that you might need for a specific case?
Well, actually, we currently have tools, legal database for that necessities. I mean, usually lawyers have a database with all the laws, all the regulations, all the sentences that has been ruled by the Supreme Court, for example. This information, that documentation is essential to manage your cases. And this database usually have a really hard and potent certain features that helps you to look for the information or the article of a concrete law that you need to manage your case. So it was something that was covered. But nowadays with the AI, it's a big difference, because before you had to have the clear vision about what you're needing, and then you have clear that you need to look for a law for a concrete area, for example, for renting or for civil. There are many laws, but now with AI, it's just to make a question through a prompt, and instead to look for different laws, to read different articles, to look for sentences, and then to analyze and to get the conclusion. Now the system can offer you everything in once. So, I mean, the difference is really hard and deeply in the sense of the potential and the impact that is going to have on the legal sector.
I'm going to make a question that probably sounds stupid to you and to the audience, but I'm going to ask it anyway. I was wondering before this call, I was thinking about, interesting hot takes about AI in the future. And I was thinking, do you think it's possible that at some point these AIs, apart from helping you with all the paperwork and the templates and the documents and so on, that they can come up with a prediction, like a percentage of success that you will have in the case? Like, no, you're going to lose this because this and that.
Actually, there are tools also for that.
Really?
Yes,
they are.
Yeah, I mean, it was one of the first applications of AI on the legal sector. Well, maybe at the very beginning it wasn't AI, it was just a statistic. I mean, we have, there is a web page which is Fendor, that it's compiling all the main sentences that the court are dictating, and this information is free, and anyone can make any consultant. So the point is that if you have the possibility to put all the sentences in a system and to classify the typology of the matter, the decision that has been made, if it has been estimated or not, and the court, the number of the court that has dictated the sentence, at least you have results. It's data. I mean, in X percent of cases, this court for this case has admitted the case. In this orders, no. I mean,
No.
yeah.
Okay, I'm thinking now, in the movies and TV shows, sometimes they have these lawyers and they say, no, but we're going to this judge, so you're going to lose. When you said the court number, is that what it is? I mean, depending on which judge or which city, you might have more success or more chances to lose.
Yes,
wow.
That's it. I mean, for some matters that has been criteria from the Supreme Court, all the rest of the courts have to act according to what they've said. But until a case has been regulated by the Supreme Court, previously has been analyzed for many courts in Spain, and each one has its own or his own or its own criteria. So when the part is not one of the part of the cases is they are not agree with them, they do not agree with the result appeal, and after the result of the appellation, if the part again is not comfortable with the result, again can claim an appeal to the Supreme Court. And it's at that point that what says the Supreme Court has to be the decision that for that kind of cases in the future, the rest of the court has to take into account for the sentences and the failings. Yeah.
Interesting. All right. Another question. I know you have more or less answered this, but I'm going to ask you directly about this. If you can give me any more insights. So digital transformation in general, there's a resistance and friction in many companies, but in traditional conservative fields like law, even I can imagine that the resistance is even stronger, because it's about changing old habits, and there are, I'm sure, many old school individuals that are fearful of changing their ways because no, but I've been doing this forever. I know what I'm doing. I don't need technology. And now you go and try to sell them that there's a new way of doing things, maybe not new, but faster and maybe more efficient. But to them, it sounds like new stuff. So how do you deal with that?
The first point is that usually ones are afraid about what doesn't know. I mean, and is it clear that the technology for legal sector is completely unknown yet? I mean, the most of the lawyers do not know which means RPA or for what you can use this technology. I mean, or for example, when you talk about OCR format, they are familiar with the concept because some courts ask for documents to be taken to the court in that format because the people who's working on the court can select and copy and paste to create the new documents. But they do not understand, the lawyers or the professional of the legal sector, they do not understand or do not know, that the OCR format document is, if it is providing to you with the same information structure on the same way all the time, you can work over it to get the metadata or the data to be imported on your database. That is something that the most of the lawyers don't know that can be done. So for me, for example, it's like everybody's starting to I mean, in the legal sector, everything or everybody is so exciting about the AI, but they're still working with the Windows folders. It's like what?
Yes. Oh.
To build in the house for the first. I mean, it's like building first the roof, and it's like perfect. The AI is going to help you a lot, but you first need to get data structure, or your information and all the data of your cases must be systematized and structured.
Secured.
It's like, and it's what? Wow.
And you need backups and so on.
Exactly.
Yeah, you don't want to lose everything. Before we continue, when you say OCR, just to make sure and that the people in the audience understand, OCR is a scanned document that you turn into text that you can then search, right? Exactly. So it's not, when you scan documents, it can be an image, like just pixels, or you can recognize the text in the image and then turn it into just plain text. This is what you mean by OCR.
Yeah, when is that the example? Because when I talk to lawyers, because when I do seminars or tutorials or on even speech on congresses, and I do talk about this, I explain when we get a document, we have two options: a PDF where you can select a line of the text to copy and paste, or you can or you can receive a print of the photo, where the only way that you can select is the whole document, and you cannot select any word, any line, any text. So this
let alone searching.
Yeah, exactly. And not only searching, Luis. Do you remember what I explained you before, that the most of my day was copying and paste? I mean, if I have to appeal, I was copying the fundament and all the arguments that the sentence was saying to me. So I was copying the arguments from the sentence to be copied, to be pasted on the template or on the document that I was preparing. So at least you are all the time copying and paste.
All right. Yeah, I can imagine it is not fun to do that over and over again.
And mainly because no one got a degree in law to spend the day copying and pasting data, you know?
Yes. No, and if you pay the lawyer by the hour, that is an expensive thing for them to do.
Well, no, but the point is that something
joking.
really full. But yeah, no, but the point is that it's not it's not the normal way to charge the fees here in Spain. For the United Kingdom system, and maybe in Europe it is, but here in Spain it's not. I mean, the normal way to charge the fees to the customer or to the clients is to agree a fixed fee for managing the case.
Mm-hmm. All right. Okay, so we've mentioned AI many times. I'm going to ask you the obvious question that everybody's asking in many fields, but in your case, so in this podcast, we've had people from human resources, and we covered, for example, bias. So if we let AI decide based on cold criteria, there could be, bias towards specific types of people or types of behaviors of experiences, blah blah blah. So I'm going to ask you the same in the world of the law. So is there any biases you're afraid that they could be introduced with AI and the potential of replacing human judgment, for example, or dehumanizing legal processes? Are you afraid or worried about those things?
I do understand the question, but the point is that actually human usually do. I mean, me, for example, I'm a lawyer. I have been managing for the most of the case of my time, massive litigation cases. So my bias, do you pronounce it bias or bias?
Bias. Yes.
My bias is there, and maybe I cannot take into account other aspects that maybe a lawyer that is not managing litigation cases will be. It's like at least human has on the same situation. The only difference is that technology can scale the situations, and human can make mistakes and realize and to solve. But when we realize, maybe we have not do it many times, but with technology, when you realize it has been impacting in many cases, that's the difference. But for that reason, humans are very important on teaching the systems and to provide the system all the information, objective information, to avoid that kind of situation and to make sure that all the scenarios or the examples or the conditions are going to be into account.
Right. Sounds good. So yeah, I guess the next question is kind of related. So how should the legal profession balance the benefits of AI with these ethical concerns to ensure that justice and fairness remain at the heart of the legal processes?
Well, the point is that if I have to be honest, sorry, I'm so focused on getting efficiencies, on being more productive to offer a different value. So I do see the AI and the other technologies as a tool. I do not trust in the scenario that the technology will substitute the lawyers. I mean, technology must be a tool for sure. No so many conventional lawyers will be required in the future. For sure, we will need to create new profiles to cover new areas of the mixing of technology and legal areas, but I still think that the lawyers will be required, and the exercise that lawyers do in creating a strategy, defining the approach to win the case, to detect any defect or any mistake of the other part, or to be taken as an advantage. Or, I mean, I do think that we will still be necessary, and the AI is it's going to be a tool. It's not going to be the legal sector.
Yeah, no, I surely hope so. No, it was more. I wasn't implying that the lawyers are going to disappear, but more like that the lawyers, along with AI, or using AI too much, or not too much, but like you said, you don't trust AI. So this is kind of the answer of the question. So, because if you let the AI decide, maybe some of the, heart of the legal processes, because it's not just what you know, it's also, what you feel. And if you feel that someone is, deserves something, you fight for it differently than a machine would do. Because
yeah, for sure.
a machine is just facts. But then you would take into account many other things like personal stuff, or just sitting with a customer in front of them and I don't know, hearing the stories. You can make different decisions, but the AI cannot do that.
Yeah, for that reason, I said that I'm so focused on the operative, on being more efficient. Technology will help to manage more properly the case and to get in more time to be involved on studying the case and not losing my time on the paperwork that avoid me to dedicate to the case the enough time for studying, to prepare, to analyzing all the details. So it's not about being afraid that the technology will do my job. No, will do the job that I don't want to do.
I really like that sentence.
Yeah, for that
really
reason
like that
I was
one.
mentioning the operative part and the paperwork, because if I want to be efficient, what I have to do is not to do all the low value tasks that can be done by technology and the AI. So will allow me to be more productive, because these tasks will be attended anyway, but meanwhile I will be focused on the real important tasks that technology cannot do.
Thank you. Thank you for that. I'm going to steal that sentence. AI will do the task I don't want to do.
Yeah,
it's how it should be. Yes, but I think nobody has answered like this when I asked this question. So maybe somehow close to it, but I think your expression was the best answer I got for this question. So thank you very much. And I'm going to steal it. Shamelessly. Don't sue me.
Because I didn't forget it. And indeed it was, I think that it has a real message. I will use it for my next publication on LinkedIn.
Yes. Yeah, it will be the title of this video, I promise.
Thank you.
Cool.
Yeah, cool.
Well, thank you for your insights. Is there anything else you would like to say, or comments that we haven't covered?
Well, I think that for me as a professional of a legal sector, we could say that is a place to think. It's one of the more traditional sectors in the industry, any industry. To think that I'm participating in an active way on to reinvent the way of offering the legal services is such an opportunity, is a real challenge, and I'm so happy to be involved so directly, and to think that in any sense I can help and bring value to the process, and much more important, to help my colleagues to understand that technology can help them to focus on the most important things, and that technology can do the work that they don't want to do.
All right. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much for that. All right. So thank you very much for being in the episode. I think it's been very insightful, and this video, I think it will, it's the first time I cover anything close to the law. Mm-hmm. So we've covered technology, music, we've covered human resources, but law for me has always been a mystery. Although I really love, when you watch a movie and there's, lawyers and so on, I really admire you guys, because you have to remember so many things, and you have to have the nerve of standing in front of a judge and defend someone. This is, for me, it's something I couldn't do ever, because I don't know, I think you have to born, and you have to, it's like something you're born with. What I wanted to say.
It's a point of patience, maybe, because when you get there and you stand in front of a judge defending something that can be crazy, because sometimes it's crazy, the thesis that you are maintaining and the conclusions that you have got after studying and trying to get the answer, because it's what you say before, is the feeling, the empathy with the customer, with your client, what makes you to try the most and to try to find a solution that maybe until that moment wasn't able. So it's the patient, I think, the patient in loving what you do, and then to believe that you can change the mind of the judge. So it's the only way.
And now you have robots on your side. Cool. AI. All right, Rocío. So again, thank you very much. We'll wrap it up here.
It was a pleasure.
Yes. To the audience, I wanted to say that Rocío will probably repeat, but we'll have another episode in Spanish, because I'm opening a new channel in Spanish, especially for local case, not local because she's working internationally, but I think that some cases, like, working with the law, is very specific to our country. So maybe in a Spanish episode, you could be more specific about things that, matter to people in this country, and that don't work necessarily the same in other countries. So I think it could be interesting. So I'll see you again in the Spanish episode.
For sure, Luis. Thank you so much.
So this is the end of the episode, and also the end of season 1. You would think, why season 1? What is this? This is not a TV show. Well, saying season 1 is just an excuse to say, I'm going to make a pause, and I'm going to take everything that I've learned so far, and I'm going to apply it to the show. So I've received invaluable feedback from many people, not just the guests, but also from friends and listeners. And I'm going to apply those things, this advice, and everything that also I've noticed myself. Like, for example, without a script, it's very easy to make mistakes, even with the title of the podcast itself. Sometimes I find myself, or I hear myself saying, the one-to-one tech talks instead of one-on-one tech talks, things like these silly things, but important things. I also see that I need more structure, so probably scripting a bit more will be beneficial, like adding a proper introduction, not just for the guest, but also for the show. In each episode, I could be giving an introduction. I also should introduce myself, because in the end, I mean, what's the point of doing all of this if I just I'm here just to ask questions and not to tell anything about me. I want you guys to know who I am and why am I doing this. So I should, give away some information about myself too. The show is not about myself, but also I'm a part of it. So I should be telling you what I do and why the topics I discuss about matter to me. So this is something I could be saying at the beginning of each episode. Also a proper goodbye, proper ending for the episodes. I'm also taking speaking lessons from a voice coach. So this is important too. I want to improve how I speak and how do I pronunciate. This is crazy, but I've been speaking English for over, 20 years already, and I hear myself in the recordings and I think, oh my God, all this time speaking in English and this is how I sound still. So yeah, that's one thing to improve. But this is good. It's a good exercise. And I think without the podcast, I would have never noticed as much. I do hear myself in recordings every now and then, especially when I do tech talks or when I do workshops. But it's not the same because those are very technical and the people in there don't care much about how I say things. They care most about what's being said. The same than a podcast, but in the podcast, you only have my voice. There's nothing in the screen. I'm not showing a slide. I'm not showing code that I can, that can somehow take the attention to that instead of to my voice. But in here, if someone is listening to my voice and that's it, that's the transport, the delivery transport of my voice, of my message. So I really need to script things. Like right now, I'm not reading anything. I'm just saying this, by heart. I'm just thinking out loud, basically. But in the middle of an episode, it's not good to start rambling. So I need more scripts. Anyway, I don't want to drag this for too long. I just wanted to say that I'm stopping the episodes in this format, but I'm going to continue recording episodes and I'm going to change how I do things. And this is the message to you. And finally, I wanted to thank you from the bottom of my heart from being here. For you, maybe it's not a big deal. For me, yeah, it really means the world to me that you're here, that you're listening to what I have to say, and that you're supporting this small project. So yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. If you want to come as a guest, go to luisnomad.com/podcast. You will find a form where you can apply to be a guest. Being a guest is, you've heard how it is. You come to the episode, we talk for about 30 minutes, and then I put it on YouTube and in the future in other major platforms. That's also a reason why I want to improve how everything sounds. So yeah, stay in touch, either as a listener or as a guest. But stay in touch, subscribe, share, provide your feedback. It really means a lot to me. So bye for now, but don't go too far because I won't. See you soon.